Okay, I'm here with one of my good friends, Nick Rogers. We have been kind of both in the Twitter space for a long time, bro. I've seen you on Twitter for years now, man. And it's crazy how we never like talked up until this point. But yeah, you're really big in the personal branding space and the online marketing space in general. You've run up theme pages to crazy sizes. I know you've got an insane system at the minute for running up theme pages, running up personal brands. Obviously, I do a lot of personal branding stuff as well. And yeah, it'd be good to have a chat to see what's working in the industry at the minute. And that's really the goal for this call, actually, for everyone watching who wants to grow a personal brand, wants to grow their own, their own brand in general on social media. That's the goal here. Two people to come together in the personal branding space and see what's working, and hopefully we can explain a lot of strategies that are working for ourselves, for clients, and then can take that away and try to add it to.
Well, you cut out for me a little bit, but I don't know what you said at the end. But
Oh,
shit, there we are. Okay, cool. You cut out for me a little bit, so I don't know what you
how's
said
it
at the
going,
end.
man?
But happy to be here. Happy to have a good chat. We've been connected for a while. Talk about meeting up in Spain and all that. But we're obviously doing this first, so yeah, let's jump into it, dude. Like, let's
Nah,
go.
bro.
Yeah, what's on your mind?
Yeah, so let's let's kick it off with this. So I was actually talking to a mate of mine today. Actually, I'm in the studio at the minute filming, and I was telling him that every platform has like their golden age, their golden point of it. Mostly like the viral stuff kind of started with Vine, right? And you had all the guys like Jake Paul, Logan Paul, basically cut their teeth there and get famous on that platform. You have like Rogan got big on YouTube, and all like the big gurus got big on YouTube, and Facebook groups were a big thing at one point. Then TikTok became a thing. Hormozy and Tate got big on TikTok, and I think at the moment Instagram is like the only platform in the whole ecosystem that gives like easy growth. I don't think Twitter is giving very easy growth at the minute. TikTok growth has definitely stunted since I
Yeah.
don't even know when. But what do you think about that? Do you think Instagram is the place to be?
I mean, Instagram's the place I have been since, 2018, since I really got started. Um, I would agree with you and say, like, I still kick myself for it a little bit because TikTok was such easy growth in like 2019, 2020, 2021. And I saw it and I started to do some stuff. But me and my business partner at the time, we're not partner anymore, but we just decided we're like, nah, we're just gonna stick with IG because it's just what we knew, what we were good at, what we were doing. Um, and it just I don't know. Like I wish I caught that trend of TikTok. Regardless, I do think IG is giving crazy growth right now. I'm seeing it. Like it's some of the easiest growth I've seen since 2018. I think it got a little bit difficult there. 21, 22. It was like they're still figuring out their algo. They're switching from IGTV over to Reels. They're kind of consolidating some things. Um, they've done a lot of switches. I feel like in the past like couple of years where they're prioritizing video, and then they realize they did it too hard and people are complaining, and so they're back and forth. Right now, I feel like it's crazy. Interestingly enough, though, I still I still think that there's my opinion on it is that there's two pieces to the puzzle. There's like a piece of the puzzle of like, okay, yeah, what's the path of least resistance in terms of the platform? And I think Instagram might be the path of least resistance right now. But I still think if you make really good content, doesn't matter where you're at, you can penetrate Twitter, you can penetrate TikTok, you can penetrate IG, you can penetrate YouTube, you can penetrate any platform, no matter if it's easy growth or not, if the content and message cuts through the space strong enough. That's at least my thought process on it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I guess I do tell people that, to get consistent with content, you need to find your format. Like for me, like I grew my first personal brand on Twitter, but that was back in like
So easy, wasn't
20,
it?
2019 or whatever, 2020 when I first started tweeting. And then and I'm not a big personal brand on Twitter. Like I have like almost 10K. In fact, I hit 10K and then I stopped growing and then I lost followers back down to like 9.8 or something. but it's never been like my huge, forte. In fact, I only seen crazy growth when I actually moved over to like short form video on TikTok and IG, and I grew. And here's the thing, man. Like I grew my TikTok following to like 100K, but I never considered it a huge asset. I don't think you missed a lot by missing the TikTok wave, to be honest. I think like the quality of the traffic on that side, especially in the make money online space, I think is super low quality because TikTok, I've noticed more so than IG, is more likely to show content to like the third world, like to India and Africa and everything. Like if
Interesting.
you look at your insights on TikTok, the percentage of lower quality countries was way higher, and also the percentage, obviously, of younger people, aka people with less money, was way higher. Whereas on IG, every single one of my videos is like 40 to 50% USA, and the
100%.
vast majority of the viewers of my followers are like 25 to 30 or 35, whatever they
The
show the range in.
the
So
IG.
that's like a better country, better.
Oh, sorry. We're
Go
we got a
ahead.
little bit of lag, guys. So if you're watching this, like I thought he was done talking, but anyway, my bad. I didn't mean to cut you off, bro. At least I was just basically saying that on IG, like what I
No,
see,
you can hop.
it's so dialed in regards to how the just how it shows content to people. Like it's much better in my opinion than TikTok is.
Hmm.
Although I mean, obviously TikTok algo is good. Maybe they just I don't know what it is on TikTok. I always get haters. If I put a video up, it doesn't matter like what it's about, but if it's about like, yeah, better your life or like aspire to do good, I don't even notice any like third world. I just notice like people just hate on it. And I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's how people use the platform or who's on it.
Yeah.
Maybe you have some insight there. But I thought that was very interesting.
I just think TikTok is the bottom of the barrel, like quality, like especially like if you're talking like info offers, coaching info offers. I just don't think there's really that many buyers on that platform. The guys that I see performing the best are guys that are selling like physical products on TikTok, and that's because those people are like the consumers. So I feel like the buyer, the customer for an info product and for a coaching is like two or three steps above the average consumer in terms of like their sophistication, in terms of their intelligence, because they're at least self-aware enough to know I need to be consuming self-improvement content and I need to be buying self-improvement
Yeah.
products. Whereas the average consumer is like, "Ooh, I saw this like candle that smells like popcorn on TikTok. TikTok made me buy it. I'm gonna buy it." They're those are like the mindless people, right? And therefore that is the vast majority of viewers on TikTok. And the mindless people are the ones that just are the haters. Like the average person is a hater. Like you say anything, if you go to like a bar, like a regular bar, and you talk too loud about like your goals and your aspirations, guarantee somebody beside you who can hear what you're saying is thinking this guy's a fucking idiot. Like who does he think he is? Blah blah blah. That's what the average person thinks, and I think that is the person that's on TikTok. On IG, from my experience anyway, I almost never get hit unless I like intentionally look for it. By the way, there's a format I've been posting on IG lately that has been working super well, and it's so simple. Like literally, I will screenshot a tweet that I did, and it doesn't even matter if it performed well or not. Like literally, I posted a tweet, it got like 2 likes on Twitter, and I basically reposted it as a reel over to IG, and I got like 50K views in a couple of days, right? But it was like rage bait. It was like intentionally trying to piss people off, and I think it was something about how to get in like a good social circle in a new city. And I said, everybody, and three, go to a cigar lounge because like, richer people usually go to cigar lounges, private members clubs. And then everyone was like, oh, you're fucking just like making fun of me, right? For saying how to get in a good social circle, right? So when I post stuff like that, that's when I get the haters. But almost always when I post like a value video or anything like helpful, it's like on IG, and I don't even post on TikTok anymore. But on IG, it's like I think the quality is like 100 times better.
The interesting thing is I think Twitter has as Elon has taken over, because I think Twitter used to be touted as the place of quality. Like you're talking about IG right now. It was always like Twitter's the best, Twitter has the best audience, yada yada, whatever. I actually think that Twitter used to be almost too sophisticated, if that makes sense. Like it
Mm,
was almost over sophisticated, where if you put low level stuff on there, you got clowned by the sophisticated people. And
yeah.
now it's kind of getting to the point where like that still happens, but I've seen such low sophistication people on Twitter. I've almost started to become frustrated with the platform a little bit in regards to
Yeah.
how the reach is working because of how it's being pushed to people that aren't in your audience and aren't. I don't know. I think you're back to the point you started the call out, which is like IG is the place for quality. IG is the place for growth right now. Um, and not just growth, but quality growth, like you're saying. I think it's true because I do look at Twitter and Twitter's still fruitful for me and for our clients, um, but it's not the same as it used to be. And I think it's because of how the algo is changing, and I'm seeing a lot more lower quality people coming into the audience or just consuming the stuff
Mhm.
because of how stuff gets pushed in the algorithm now. It's very,
Mhm.
there's accounts that are going viral for like videos of people getting killed on like CCTV camera.
Yeah.
And it's just that. It's just like entertainment and like gruesome stuff just like going viral in the algo because that's what people are engaging with and they're just getting it shown because the watch time's crazy on them.
It's because they switched the way obviously the feed worked, right? Like
Hmm.
before, it was the only time, let's say you and I didn't follow each other. The only time I would ever see your stuff is if someone that I already followed like liked it or
Yep.
retweeted it, right? So then that automatically puts in a filter. Let's assume that everyone I follow thinks like me, likes the same stuff, things that I do. That's the reason why I follow them,
Yep.
right? I resonate with them some way. So therefore, they're more likely to be engaging with the kind of stuff that I want to see. And that's why everyone is saying my feed is just full of like stuff that I don't want to see. It's because now they've implemented the For You page. And the For You page is just pushing stuff up that is getting more engagement in the general population, not just among people that you resonate with, it's among the general population. Twitter is becoming more like TikTok, what I explained earlier,
Hmm.
where TikTok is full of like the bottom of the barrel, like mindless doom scrollers, like just going for that
Yeah.
dopamine hit. And that's because they implemented that For You page, and the way they set up the algorithm is whatever gets the most engagement is what is going to get pushed.
Yep.
And humans, they don't naturally consume what's best for them, right? That's why everyone's fat. They're drinking like soda and sugar. They eat like crap or whatever because we're not good at controlling ourselves, and so we get addicted to things, and so we get addicted to the most mindless content, and then that's what the algorithm thinks people want to see because they watch it the most, and then they push it out more. That's what Twitter's doing now, I think. Every time I go into the For You page of Twitter, it's just full of junk. Every time I go to my following page, it's full of all the stuff I want to see. You know what I mean? But they default you to the For You page. So when you
I
hop
know.
on and you're scrolling, before you could be like 5 minutes, 10 minutes deep into a scrolling session, and you realize you've been on the For You page the entire time, and you've just been seeing trash the entire time. So I don't know. I think like guys like you like do really really well on Twitter. I think for me, I do way better with video, and I think that's really important. You gotta find your format, the kind of format that you can easily do, that you resonate with the most, and that you perform the best in. Like I can't. Whenever I have a thought, I can't write it that well, but I can say it super
Hmm.
well. So that
I
therefore,
think
obviously,
I think they go hand in hand for me. Like if I have a thought, my first instinct is to write it out. And to me, that fleshes out the idea. And then I can take that idea and put it on video. And
mhm.
video for me is just something that I I know for me, personally for me, because that's something that I've lagged in a little bit because I went so
Mhm.
hard into Twitter, have the email list. We had the podcast as well, which is long form, but that,
Yep.
obviously has, we haven't done that in a year. But I started YouTube recently and I started IG like really pressing the gas on IG. I got like 30K there, mostly from shout outs, growing my pages, just people knowing me from that. But really pressing the gas on my short form there because in my opinion, one, there's super easy growth on IG right now. But two, you don't get quote famous or like you don't get like a cult audience. You don't really get people that are like, fuck yeah, I love you from writing. In
Yeah.
this day and age. It comes from video. And
Mhm.
I look at it as shorts bring people in, and then
Yeah.
you direct those people to a long form, a live stream, uh,
Yeah.
you know, I guess I wouldn't consider a VSL like a long form that really makes people like me, but like a podcast, long form YouTube, stuff like that. You pull them in with a short form and then you direct them there. I have
Yeah.
seen that, like, I don't think that YouTube Shorts, and correct me if I'm wrong if you've seen something different. I don't think YouTube Shorts has a lot of crossover to YouTube long form, but I do
Yeah.
think IG Reels have a lot of crossover to YouTube long form. Interestingly enough, people kind of find you. It seems interesting. Every time I plug my YouTube videos on IG, they get like double, triple the views pretty immediately than if I don't. And it
Yeah.
seems to convert. It seems to carry over. I'm not sure if you've seen something different, but
No,
that to me is the meta right now.
you're 100% right on YouTube. Like I also like whenever a client gets big on YouTube Shorts and they start posting long, I don't really see it convert over. That's why I tell people if you have a solid long form YouTube, separate into a shorts channel. Don't put shorts on your regular because it'll just dilute your metrics. I also have a couple friends that run really big pages on YouTube, like sort of like a theme page but for YouTube, right? And they post like music and things like that. And they also confirmed that shorts do not cross over to long, and they've got millions of subscribers. And they don't post shorts anymore because they notice that the subscribers they get and the views they get, it just doesn't translate over to the revenue that they want. And obviously long form revenue on YouTube is significantly higher than short form. I don't even think they pay for short form. They do, but
A
it's
little bit,
pennies, I think.
very tiny.
It's pennies on YouTube. It's tiny on TikTok.
Yeah.
I have like an account running right now that gets only like 34 cents RPM on TikTok, and on YouTube you get way higher. So we could get like we could get like 10 million views on TikTok, qualified views that they consider qualified, and we would only make like 3K on like the creator pro, the creativity program.
Yeah.
We'd only make like 3K there. But if you got 10 million views on YouTube, you'd be making so much more money from that kind of program. So I think on YouTube, there's no point in posting shorts on your long form, but you're definitely right in the sense that with IG, the IG user, in my opinion, is much more likely to consume a long form piece of content than anyone else. And I have like anecdotal evidence to back that up. So we had this one client. They don't work with us anymore, but we ran like some launches for them last year. First of all, we grew their audience, right? They were sitting at like 1,500 or whatever
Mhm.
IG followers, and we grew them up to like 10K. Nothing wild. But their niche was like extremely niche. It was like they were a training company that was teaching doctors how to heal their patients with sunlight and circadian rhythms and sleep and everything like this, blue light, all that stuff. And they were getting like average 1,500, 2K, 3K views per video. Like their top video, I think was like 30K. Nothing wild again. But because their niche, was so hyper specific, we encouraged them to start a podcast where they would just bring on like doctors onto a Zoom call and just like interview them about this really fringe topic. And people would just like the 10,000 followers would go and watch that podcast. And every single person that they closed, whenever we eventually did the launch, it was like a 7 day launch. They made 80K in the first one. And in in that launch, every single person that closed had came in through short form, watched at least an episode of their podcast because they made reference to it in the sales call, and then they paid either upfront or in a payment plan.
Yep.
So you have to give people that opportunity to consume something long form because once someone follows you, they're not sold on you. They just like it's like they're opting in to
Yeah.
like an email list, right? It's like an opt-in. Doesn't mean you've got them. It means you have now the opportunity to then remarket them with more content, with your IG stories, with YouTubes, with podcasts. You then have to keep pushing out more and more content to get them indoctrinated. And then one day, whether it's tomorrow or in 6 months or longer, then they will come in your
Yep.
funnel and actually buy. But you don't know when it's going to be.
And
You just have to.
I encourage anyone watching this, like if you don't follow what he's saying or don't believe that, next time you purchase some kind of program or just something like, for example, I found this guy on a podcast before. I was like, oh, like just it was on Gary Brecka's podcast. I don't know if you know who that is, health guy.
Yeah.
I was listening to it. I'm like, oh, this is cool. I've heard about this guy from a friend before that worked for him. So I go search him up on IG. I check it out. Cool. Then I search him up on Google, look for reviews, look for his blog. He's got a couple supplements. This stuff is cool. Then I look him up on YouTube. Like I'm not the I'm not the most skeptical person ever, like, by any means, by any means. And I still looked him up on like 3 or 4 platforms before I was like, yeah, this guy's cool. And then I followed him, and then I didn't purchase anything from him yet, or maybe at all ever. But like I looked at what he had because I was interested in what he was talking about on his podcast. That's that's what people do to your guys' brains if you're listening to this. That's what people do. They see you somewhere and then they go to Google and they look you up. And so like
Mhm.
something that we're doing right now is like launch socials, our site. There is no site, it's a funnel. And so instead of having the funnel, we're working on building out like a proper fully built website, because
Mhm.
as we scale and as we go to cold traffic and as we get bigger and people find me from shorts on the fringes of the make money space on the internet, oh, what's launch socials? What's who is Nick?
Mhm.
Search me up, there's nothing there. Oh, it's a scam, right? Like
Yeah.
that's the first thing, because and I noticed that just based on my own consumer behavior. So next time any of you guys buy something, like take what he's saying uh seriously, because it's true. People will not. I tend to find that it takes minimum 45 days between the follow and a purchase, based on like interviewing customers, interviewing clients, customers when we were really running the agency super hard. It takes minimum 45 days typically to make a purchase 250 or more. A 97 of 27, a 47 that feels like they need it right now. Those purchases, happen. That's why you can scale like a low ticket on paid very easily, or liquidate the ad spend. I mean, now I'm getting whatever. But yeah, typically it takes 45 days minimum and closer to 6 to 9 months, I've found.
Mhm. Yeah. We incorporated that like after we did that launch and we started to see how well the podcast was working for them. We just started recording, and it wasn't like we launched a podcast. We just started recording like conversations with guys that were either in similar space, content space, even ecom guys that weren't
Like
even really
this.
into like like this, right? And then we would put it on our site. So we would have a section on our agency that said podcast, and it would look like, and as soon as we got to like 10 episodes or whatever, it
Yeah.
looked like a real podcast. And we started getting people that would come in through either through my personal brand, outbound referrals, organic search, anything like that. We started to get then people getting on calls and saying, oh, you're the guy from the podcast. Anytime that we close a client, and like I have a sales guy now, so I don't do sales calls, but recently we closed a client and I hosted the kickoff call, and I got on. She was like, "You're the guy that was on the podcast." I'm like, "Yeah, it's my company." She's like, "Oh my god!" Like, so they really do research you, right?
Yep.
They really do go through everything, and when they type in your company name or your own personal name for a personal brand, the more they see, the more they feel like you're legit. Especially if you're omnipresent. Like if they can type in your company name or your personal name, and there's like an Instagram with like 30K, there's a TikTok with 50K, there's a YouTube with 2K, there's a Twitter with 5K, and it's all consistent across all, like in terms of your branding and your
Yep.
positioning is consistent across everything. It's like that number alone is the social proof. Because here's the thing, right? A lot of guys like that might be watching this might be in the make money online space. I'm sure you've looked at like a million funnels, and I know everybody does this because I do this too. I never watch testimonials. I just scroll to see how many there are, and screenshots too. Like if I'm scrolling and it's taking me like 30 seconds plus to get to the bottom of someone's page, I'm like, holy fuck, they must be good, right? Sure, maybe you'll watch a couple, but people just want to see like that overwhelming social proof in general, and that alone will get you closes. Like people don't even like. I went into a competitor's funnel. I won't say their name, right? And I don't want to start a content war here, but I went into a competitor's funnel, and they had like the names of some of their clients like listed, like their testimonials and everything. And I was like, oh, I'm just going to look them up, look up those clients. And these guys were supposedly meant to be personal branding experts, content experts, whatever. And the guys that they were pushing that were giving testimonials as if they went viral or whatever had like 1,000 followers. And I was like, kind of weird. You know what I mean? Like there's not really, and like it was hard for me to find an actual good result. But they were crushing, by the way, making multiple six figures a month, like running cold traffic to that funnel. So even though their results weren't the best, because they had a ton of people that were just recording videos saying we're so great. I'm not saying this is necessarily ethical, by the way. I'm just trying to prove my point that they just had a wall of testimonials and a wall of screenshots. Even though the results weren't the best, weren't anywhere near mine, they're still making a shitload more money than we are off cold traffic because they did a better marketing job. So if you can apply that same logic and just have that overwhelming social proof, even if you're not, this is for the agency people, I guess, even if you're not like the most seasoned agency owner, for example, and you don't have the most world-class results, but you've got okay results, as long as you have that social proof of either a following or just a ton of videos and testimonials and screenshots, it's just going to look like you are an expert, and it's going to make it so much more likely that someone's going to pay you for whatever it is that you're pitching, just because of that social proof alone.
And I want to touch on the podcast for a second. I want to go back to that point. You guys probably didn't even have crazy views on those podcasts. I don't know how many, maybe a couple hundred, maybe 1,000, whatever it was, because they're probably super niche. But that doesn't like matter because obviously you guys are working much smaller, more narrow kind of targeted customer base or client base. And so when they find it and then they watch one or two and they're like, oh my God, there's 50 of these. They're just like, yeah, these are the guys. And they don't even have to have a ton of views. It's just like getting the right person to watch that is it. It's everything.
Literally. Like we had, just like you said, we just posted them randomly and I didn't care for them to be like an organic asset. I literally just recorded it for it to be on the website for someone to go and watch that. But we posted them publicly on YouTube anyway. And then, fast forward like a few months and you look it up and like one episode might have 3K views or one has like 600 or whatever, just all from organic. And I never tried to make a good thumbnail. I never tried to like do a title. I literally just told my assistant, like, just upload it and call it whatever you think is going to work. Like episode 5 with this guy's name, then it's like, whatever, but never try to put in any effort, but it's an amazing sales asset. Like you have to have that kind of stuff. But in terms of like the types of creators that you're seeing performing really well, are you seeing mostly money creators? Are you tapping into other niches? What kind of creators are you seeing that are popping off at the minute?
I think there's, at least in our space. Okay, so I'll say there's many types of creators. I think entertainment is one type, and I think it's a completely different business model. You're trying to get brand deals, maybe you're trying to launch a brand yourself, that type of thing. I think it's a different business model. I'm not really going to touch on that. I would touch on the people that are pushing education. People are pushing education in every niche now. I have people that are in the music niche that we work with, a couple people. I have people that are sports coaches that we work with. I have people that are like life coaches, doctors, health people, fitness people, make money people. It's all across the map. I find that within that, there's 2 lanes you can take. You can take, like, I'm purely here to make cash and all my stuff is an advertisement for the opportunity that I'm selling. Or you can take the lane of like, yeah, I did that shit and I'm really good at making music or whatever, but I'm also this cool person. And my name's Tim and I do this and yada, 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 whatever. And that's a real personal brand. I find those types grow slightly slower because there's little nuances, there's quirks about them, things like that, and they don't fit into a box within the niche, but they have a much bigger upside, and the people that follow them like them a lot more. And so I find that it's like the people that make the most money and can grow the biggest almost kind of combine the influencer-esqueness of the entertainer, but that's really just their actual personal brand. And then they talk about what they're good at or the opportunity that they succeeded at and how they help people with it, but they don't go fully into, hey guys, I'm going to make money online, guru, and here's how you can make money today. And like, it's just that, it's not that. It's a
Yeah.
mix of the two. And if it's nailed, those guys are just crushing. Like we had one guy, he started with us just over a year ago, 0 followers. He's at 200K on IG right now, and he we just started to help him grow on YouTube too. Um, he he argues with me. He doesn't want to launch his coaching yet because he wants to keep growing bigger. But I keep trying to get him to launch the coaching. I was like, dude, launch
Yeah.
it. You can make 100K in like 2 days. But he I could see him at a mill. Like he
Mhm.
has that type of presence, but he combined those two. He has the influencer-esque entertainer plus he's educating every day.
The way I look at it is, and you nailed it by the way. The way I look at it is everyone throws around the word personal brand, but they don't dissect the two words personal brand, right? So the brand side is the value content. Like that's where you're talking about your thing, whether you're talking about fitness or making money or training your dog. That's like the brand side. And people like say, I have a personal brand, but they only post like the brand content, like your niche
They have a theme
content.
page. They have a
They
theme
have a theme
page.
page, exactly. So like you could replace that human with anyone else and they could say those same words, right? It's not really unique. They forget the personal side. They stick to the brand stuff, but they don't get out, they don't hammer the personal content as well. And you have to think of your Instagram if you want to be a real personal brand that people buy into. Um, Sidetrack here. Real personal brands don't have followers, they have fans, right? They have a fan. It's not a follower. Like they have people come up to them in the street like, "Oh my God, I'm your biggest fan," or "I've been a fan of you for ages." Someone's not doing that with like 99% of these personal brands at the minute, right? So in order to convert someone from a follower to fan status, you have to treat your Instagram and your socials almost like a daily vlog where you're giving a behind the scenes look into your lifestyle, into your thoughts. You're talking to the camera on your stories, you're going live, you're posting content that's not just your value content, it's also your opinions, your thoughts, stories from your life, things that happen to you. It's not just this niche content. And someone that does this really, really well is a really good friend of mine, Rob Lipsett.
Oh
And
yeah.
he lives in Marbella. He's a huge fitness guy. He has like 700K on IG, like 600K on YouTube. He's like an OG fitness guy. If you want to study like someone who has fans, and by the way, I've been to events with Rob that he's hosted, and people will literally just be like, holy shit. Like they'll be posting stories like, I finally met Rob after all these years, right? Because he has fans. He doesn't have followers, he has actual
And he might
fans.
not be the biggest because he isn't. Like a lot of people don't know who he is, but the people that know him are like, "Oh, holy shit, it's Rob." They're
Yeah,
fans.
exactly. And that's because like, and if you just look at his store, look at his IG, go follow him or whatever if you're watching this. Look at his IG. He's posting when he goes to the gym. He's posting when he goes, out for food.
Hmm.
He's posting when he's in a nice place. He's posting his, him talking to the camera whenever he's had a bad day. He treats it really like the IG story is a really critical part actually to building the personal brand. That is your daily vlog. Without having a real vlog, that's your vlog.
And
Keeps
and
people in the loop of what you're doing.
a point I want to touch on there is the difference there and like to really complete the point of like the people that are just focused on if Rob was just fitness and he's just posting exercise, he doesn't talk to the camera, he doesn't post where he is, doesn't post a daily vlog. People, what do people, what are they able to connect with? What do they connect with? There is
Yeah.
nothing to connect. There's no personality, there's no voice, there's no emotion. It's just like, oh yeah, he puts up good workouts. That's no
Yeah.
different than a theme page. And he could probably
Yeah.
be bigger. He could probably have 2, 3, 4 million followers, if he just posted workouts all day, every day, and had no quirks about him, no personal brand about him. But
Yeah.
because he does that, less people are, likely to relate to it. But those people relate super hard and they'll buy anything. Versus if he's a
Mhm.
theme page, he can get away maybe with like a PDF or some shit like that. And
Yeah.
and that's what a theme page sells at the end of the day, right? Something
Yeah.
much cheaper and less. I don't know. There's less of a buy-in, right?
Yeah. One thing I see a lot of top personal brands do is they put intentional effort into creating slogans and sort of rallying calls. Like everyone always says, your brand you have to do like cult like marketing for a brand and build a community and whatever. But personal brands don't really do that. But think about all of the biggest personal brands in the space. So like everyone has their own inside joke, or they have like a phrase that they use. So like David Goggins is, what does he say? Stay hard. Cameron Haynes, he says, keep hammering. Alex Hormozy says, never skip dessert. I could probably think of a bunch more, right? Like fucking Grant Cardone's like 10x. You know, like everyone has like their thing, right? The big guys have their thing, and that's what the audience like rallies around, because you will like every single day, Alex Hormozy will repost a story that one of his fans has posted of their dessert. It says hashtag never skip dessert at Alex Hormozy, because that's like an inside joke that Alex Hormozy has built. And that allows the audience to come into his world a bit more and kind of participate in that joke and feel closer to him. Then you'll see people posting stay hard, you know, at David Goggins, or keep hammering at Cameron Haynes, or 10x at Grant Cardone, or whatever anybody else says. That is like the kind, that's whenever you have people that are repeating back to you your thing, your slogan, your motto, your inside joke, that's how you know you've reached fan status in terms of having fans, not followers. Because if you don't have people doing that, you just don't have fans, you have followers at that point. And it's a really good heuristic, I think, that I notice across a lot of like bigger brands. And it's something that is actually really hard to intentionally do. You either need to be like a really strong personality, like David Goggins says, stay hard, who's going to carry the boats or whatever. You need to be like a strong personality like that, or the inside joke or the motto or the slogan needs to organically come through the content that you put out. So Hormozy posted like one of his most viral videos, and this can tie into another thing I want to talk about. One of his most viral videos was, I eat dessert every day and I still have a 6-pack. Here's how I do it. And then he explains his like calorie intake system, right? He takes a boring topic and turns it into like an entertaining thing. That one video is responsible for like probably 70% of like his follower loyalty, because it created the never skip dessert like meme, inside joke, in my opinion. And I know Alex doesn't intentionally do these strategies. I've watched so many of his seminars where he's like, I don't have a strategy. Maybe not. So I'm sure he didn't intentionally do this, but it did happen anyway as a result of that one video. And because of that one video, now he has people that are buying into his, like, it's called memetics, if you want to get technical about it. They're buying into his personal brand on a deep level by really tapping into that one little inside joke. And I know it seems like not that big of a deal, because it kind of, I guess it doesn't seem like that.
I don't think you can force it. I don't think you can force it either. Like you mentioned that. I think it has to come organically, but you have to have the conscious awareness, like this conversation, anyone listening to it, you have to have the conscious awareness of, okay, like if I say something and people start to say it and it's kind of like this thing in the DMs, I should probably play into it a little bit more. And that's how it starts to get developed, in my opinion, from most people I've seen. We had one guy, this was the first guy I grew at our agency. He was obsessed with wine, and he started calling himself Cousin Rich. Right? His name was Rich, but instead of like Uncle G, it was Cousin Rich. And people just, you know, he tested a couple times, you know, we played around with it, and then every time he go live, bro, he was sipping, like he had a whole bottle of wine every time he was going live on IG, and people were just showing up to the live stream to watch him drink wine and drink wine with him and like getting on the live with him. Like it just happens kind of naturally, and it's like, oh, like I think people like this, and then you play into it. I don't think you can force it. I don't think it can happen intentionally. I think it's just like something you say that catches people. It's like testing an angle in a newsletter or like a VSL or anything. It's like, what's gonna hit the best, and then eventually one of them does, because you just say it the right way or something, and then you run with that. But I don't think you can force a specific phrase or slogan.
No, there's have you seen the creator Jeremy Fragrance?
Yeah.
So I love that guy. He's so funny. He's weird, but I like him. He's funny. His like the inside joke of his following is that he's like a cokehead, like he's a coke addict, because he's like this extremely over the top, like energetic guy. And literally, it doesn't matter what video you click any video, go to the comments. The top comment will say, just 2 bumps today. Just 1 bump of coke today. It's always related to him like doing a bump, you know what I mean? Because he's so like energetic on camera. And that's how that joke spawned. And now he play, just like you said, he plays into it.
Yeah.
Now he does like, now he alludes to a coke addiction in his videos by like sniffing stuff and like, just being erratic and weird. Now I don't know if he's like making a ton of money. He has a fragrance brand. I'm sure he's doing decent, but regardless, like that's another example of what we're talking about.
Do you remember when like Nelk and Bradley Martin and like Steve Will Do It were like really intertwined and big like a couple years ago?
Yeah.
You would go onto any Bradley Martin video and it would be thanks for the drugs, Brad. Like
Yeah.
thanks for the like and that was just like a crazy inside joke. And I'm sure it just drove crazy engagement and fan base. And a lot of those people ended up buying clothes from both of them and or whatever it was. Um yeah, I was just yeah, that show is crazy. Every comment on
Bradley
every
Martin trying
video.
to sell me drugs.
Yeah. You had a point, I think you were gonna bring up about Hormozy or
So it also ties back to what I was saying about the personal brand, like people only doing branded content and people doing personal content. I think a mistake that a lot of people make is, like I said, they strictly only make niche content and they don't try to explore outside of that box. So like the way a video goes viral is obviously like if the video can apply to millions and millions of people or more billions of people, like it has a higher viral potential. If you get on a video and you're like, here's how to fix this extremely complex like coding thing that nobody knows about, then
yeah.
who knows how many views you get, like maybe 5K at most, right? But if you get on and you're like, here's a fucking weird hack to tie your shoelaces faster or some bullshit, right? That's on the other extreme. Then that's going to get you potentially hundreds of millions of views, right? So obviously we don't want to be over there because that's like a low quality like audience. It's too viral. It's like Taylor Swift level of like high awareness. We don't want that. We want to be like kind of in the middle where it's you're still within your industry, but it's a much higher awareness video topic. So for example, we have a client, he teaches people how to swim, right? Like adults how to swim, because like half of the adult population can't swim, 54%, which in and of itself is a high awareness problem. So our videos it's too easy to make content about that. It's just you go viral by accident. Because literally it's like 3.5 billion people or whatever, billions of people can't swim. Anyway, so we started out with making content like here's how to like do a very specific freestyle technique, right? It was too complex and we were tapping out at like 10K views. And then I started noticing that all the comments, almost every single comment was like, I can't float, I'm scared of drowning. What do I do if I'm fat and I can't float, right? Then we just started putting out content like that, tapping into the much higher awareness fears and questions basically that the audience had. And then the first viral video that we posted, it was like the hook was, here's a swim tip that can save your life, and then he'll jump into the pool and then he'll just demonstrate floating. But if he had just made a video about like here's the technical aspect of floating, makes it way less lower of an awareness level and it wouldn't go as viral. But if he framed it through the lens of here's a tip that can save your life, here's a swim tip that can save your life, that's what people cared about. Because they were most afraid of shit, what if I fall in the water and I drown? That's what they were scared of. And then go ahead.
No, go for it. Go for it. I'll finish after.
Yeah, and then we just started remixing that idea. So it was here's a swim tip that can save your life, and we started remixing that over and over and over again. Like here, if you fall in water and if you fall in deep water and you can't swim, here's how you're going to survive. Same thing in a different way. And we just kept remixing that same idea. Anytime we just had like a lower period of lower virality, we would just post a remix of that same viral idea and it would take off again. And then it eventually, I applied that same logic through using the comments, like the highest, liked comments, because that's just like the best source of content inspiration if you get that many comments. One person was like, what should I do if I fall in water and I'm wearing clothes? We posted a video about that. The hook was, what if you go in with your clothes on? And then he jumped in the pool. And this video had like two reasons why it got so big. So first of all, it was that the hook was something that so many people were asking. And it's a question that people have in your mind, like, damn, do I need to do something different if I fall in with my clothes on? Because you probably will. Most people fall in to pools with their clothes on. But what he did was then he implemented like a gimmick where he was wearing jeans. He took off his jeans, he made them wet, and he put air into the jeans and turned it into a life jacket, and then he floated in the water, like wearing his jeans that were like all puffed up. And that's obviously like a very viral moment, right? People were like, "Holy shit!" And it got crazy shares. Like the views cross-platform hit like over 60 mil. The likes were like in the millions, and the
Crazy.
shares were in the hundreds of thousands. It got reposted on all these big theme pages like Sports Center and Lad Bible, Washington Post. All the mainstream media were reposting it. People were emailing the client asking him to like, can we have permission to post this on our site? Shit like that. But it's because one, we tapped into the most high awareness ideas that people were giving to us. We remixed it with comments that people were leaving that were highly liked. So we took the original high awareness idea and we kept remixing it based on literally the market feedback in the comments of that original video. And then we added in that, obviously, that viral gimmick. And that was the video that just caught fire. And within literally weeks, he had gained multiple six figures in followers just from that one video, was the driving force behind it. And yeah, I can't even remember what my original point was, but that was crazy.
One that's sick. That's sick. Congrats. I have a couple of thoughts on it. Um, I think that the viral stuff is needed 100%, and you need it to grow. You can't grow without it. But you also need a little bit more of the niche stuff sometimes, maybe like 10, 15%. I'd say not a huge amount, but like 10, 15% to teach people and let people know that you're an expert. That's such an important thing that I think some people overlook, where they're just like, I'm just going to try to go viral all the time. But if you try to go viral all the time, typically you end up with no substance. Typically, and not everybody, but that's typically what happens. And then people are like, well, why am I even following this guy? The other stuff gives context to, oh, I followed him and he's an expert. And so it's like you have topics that are broad awareness that pull people in, and then you have a couple videos and a couple pieces here and there that like remind people you exist and you're an expert and this is good. Additionally, what's crazy is, let's say this guy goes viral and gets to 60 million views, goes all the platforms, gets reposted, this and that, but he isn't and doesn't have a bunch of backlog of content. People are going to come to his page and be like, what the fuck? Like, cool video, but, that's interesting. And so a mistake I think a lot of people make is post a couple videos. Oh, I'm not really getting that many views. I don't know what to do. Stop. Well, you don't stop, because you're trying to optimize for the super viral video. And especially at the start, your videos probably aren't going to be good. And two, they're not going to get pushed. Regardless, even if they are good, they're not going to get pushed like crazy. Probably, I would estimate that before you even get to an average of like 20, 30, 40K views or something on a video, speaking Instagram specifically, you got to post like at least 100 probably videos. But you have that backlog, and then when you have a video that goes viral, those people come and watch the rest of your videos. And if you don't have those videos, they're not going to follow you. Because I look at like a shout out or a viral video, those are traffic generators. They bring traffic to the page. And if your page, as a quote, like a landing page almost, like that's what your feed is basically, if that doesn't look like something they want to follow routinely over and over, or you go viral for something, or you get a shout out for something, and they come to your page and it's completely different content, they're going to see it and you're going to get the views, but they're not going to follow. And so they're going to bounce off and leave and never come back.
Yeah. Two things. I love what you said. So like there's different contents, obviously different content styles have different purposes. So the wider awareness stuff, if you look at it like a funnel, like the wide awareness stuff is your top of funnel that gets everyone in. Your niche value videos where you show your expertise is like your middle of funnel. And then your pitches, your CTAs, your stories to get people into your offer, that's your bottom of funnel where you're going to convert, right? That's the way I kind of look at it. And I would even just go like a 50-50 split on and more entertaining to niche. Like one day it's a niche, next day it's a higher, a higher awareness video. But yeah, that's completely true, man. I think, if you post too much that is overly viral and overly entertaining all the time, you're not going to have a high quality audience. And it's why you see all these like TikTok kids are like fucking broke, that have no money. They're like 3 million on TikTok, but when they try to like monetize it with whatever, it just flops, and you see them.
Sorry, you
I was just saying, you see them cycle through products all the time, because if one product had popped off and performed really well, they would keep selling it over the years. Whereas you see TikTok kids, like they promote one thing one week and the next week it's promoting something else. It's because nothing ever catches fire because their audience fucking sucks. Sorry, go ahead.
No, 100%. You cut out for a second, so I jumped in. But for me, I categorize it between broad, medium, and narrow. Narrow is
Mm,
like, these people are bottom of funnel. These people are like really interested in this opportunity, and the opportunity I speak about typically in the personal brand, or the thing I've been good at. I'm gonna target like them with this video, and that's where I think like 10, 15%. I think another like 30, 40% is very medium. It can get out there, but it's not going to apply to billions and billions of people. And it's a little bit broader for these people that are very, very narrow, that are like super bottom of funnel, just like dialed in. And then broad is like, we're trying to go like
mm,
stratosphere level. Um, and the thing that I noticed that gets pushed, not that just gets pushed, it just gets out there and people just eat it up, is when you come to a niche with a new idea that's
mm,
different. And so I've been seeing this one girl, there's a perfect example of this. I've been seeing this one girl blow up on IG, and she's like this sales trainer girl. She's like an
mm.
attractive girl, lives in Miami, sales trainer, whatever. And all props to her. I I have my thoughts on should women be influencers in the business, but whatever. But that's more of a personal opinion. She's clearly doing something right. Um, and the thing to me is that girls are told, and at least my breakdown of it is girls are told in this day and age, if you want to make money or you want to have a rich life, um, well, you go do OnlyFans. You go do
Yeah,
OnlyFans, you show your body, you sell your body, yada yada, whatever. And I think some of them are like, okay, I'll do it, right? Like probably with broken homes and things like that. And then many are just like, what would everyone around me think? I want to do it. I want to make money, but what would everyone around me think? Or like, I don't want to do it, right? Good girls don't want to do it. But she comes in and says, look, I know you're a hot girl. I know this is an option, blah, blah, blah. I have an option that can get you paid better. And
mm,
you don't have to go on OnlyFans and yada, yada, whatever. Sales, do sales. It's the perfect thing for a hot girl, blah, blah, blah,
mm.
whatever. And she's selling based on that. It's a new idea presented in the niche in a very consumable way that is very broad for many women, and it's crushing. I'm seeing her, dude, she's pulling the same like view levels as the top people like Gary Vee, Grant Cardone in the business space on IG specifically.
Yeah,
Numbers that nobody else is really pulling in terms of views on videos. And to me, the reason is because it's a new idea, a new opportunity presented to the space. If another
yeah,
guy comes in and sells a
yeah.
sales training program,
It's not gonna
there's
work.
there's already 50, 100, there's like thousands of people that sell sales training programs. There's nothing
Yeah,
new. But on that side, it's very new. There's very few people doing it. So she's crushing because of it. And so if you
yeah.
guys
I
can
think
find, oh, sorry, if
no. You go.
anyone watching,
You
like if you can find in general what's new and unique about your thing and your opportunity or what you do for your niche and what just the niche that you're in, and you hone in on that, that can crush for you. I've seen people blow up the fastest when they do that.
I think the most saturated way to make content is if you're like a young guy. Like there's millions of
Yeah.
young guys, like, and let's say typically like you're white or whatever, like you're the most common type of creator, right? To be posting. So if you're like a girl or you're a totally different like country, like you speak a totally different language, all you need to do is literally just copy exactly what's working for a successful creator and either just do it, as a girl as you are, or do it in German or Spanish or fucking Swedish or whatever, and really hyper target your tiny little subsection where no one else is competing. Like I was speaking to my friend, and he's Danish, and I came across this Danish like make money online guy, and I sent it to him. I was like, "You seen this guy before?" He goes, "Yeah." And I was like, "I didn't even know like there was like a Danish make money online like market, right?" And he's like, "Yeah, but he's the only one." I'm like, "What do you mean? There has to be?" He's like, "No, there's literally no other Danish business gurus. He is the only one." I'm like, "How many people live in Denmark?" He's like, 6 million. And I'm like, "Holy fuck." Like
Yeah.
he is the only guy that is marketing to the Danish market because he speaks Danish. Another example, a friend of mine, he's German, he lives in Marbella, and he literally, and what I mean he literally copy and pasted. Maybe I won't say the exact guru, but there's the famous social media marketing guru. Literally, he did a Tai Lopez, bro. He did a Tai Lopez. He copied it word for word over to German. Copied the VSL word for word, the ads word for word, the emails word for word. Literally just translated it all into German. Ran ads in Germany. Made like 50,000 euros in the first month just by literally just copying it word for word. And again, I'm not saying to do that like exactly, like copy it, just trying to illustrate the
It
point
just
that
highlights the power of it.
yeah, if you could just bring the original idea in the saturated market and you have the opportunity to say it as a woman, say it in Spanish as a Spanish person, say it in German, in Danish, whatever it is, like there's the guy, what was that guy named? Chris Johnson or some shit like that. He was like
Yeah.
selling Gumroad courses years ago. He just cornered the black market. Like
Yeah.
that was like his like following was like all the African Americans, right? Just buying his courses. If you have something unique about you like that, you may as well jump on
A
it. Like
lot
you
of
could
a lot
probably
of the stuff that
Italian
blows
American shit.
up is, oh, sorry.
You could do some Italian American stuff.
No, I don't know about that. I don't have I'd get clowned by all the downstate New York Italians. Like, you're not Italian, you're not from New York.
Yeah.
But
Hey.
um I tend to find that the people that blow up the fastest, to your point, are the people that have the new ideas and bring the new ideas to a niche. And like I was saying, another good example of this is, and it's all market sophistication levels. Like right now, the make money online market for young males in our demographic it's just getting so sophisticated. It's not 2018 anymore. 2018 was so easy. Like 2018, 2019, 2020, when we had the lockdown in 2020, it was so easy to make money. It was you
Yeah.
could put anything out there with a little bit of authority and social proof, and you just printed cash.
Yeah.
Now there's these levels of sophistication, and it's getting to the point where, like, drop shipping, for example. Drop shipping has been around for years. Okay. And so the people that I see crushing it with drop shipping are like, yeah, I do high ticket drop shipping. Like Brooke Hitting,
Yeah.
for example, if anyone knows him.
Yeah.
Brooke was with us actually at the start, and he's got his own team now. He's going paid ads, etc. But at the start, we helped him grow his personal brand, and he crushed it. First month, he did 30 G's organic with like 1,000 followers. Like he had zero, got 1,000 followers first month, did 30 G's organic, something like that. And it was because no one had ever heard of high ticket drop shipping. Everyone always just thought it was like AliExpress bullshit, whatever. And so he came in, dispelled limiting beliefs, immediately presented a new opportunity, proved that it worked. And people are like wanting to do drop shipping, but they're skeptical. They see all these people, they see him, they're like, holy shit, oh my God, buy. And now he's crushing it. Now he's doing crazy numbers. And it all lines up with the opportunity. This is why I think for me, theme pages are going to be crazy, because I think theme pages are starting to get out there. They're starting to get out there. You see Tai Lopez copying, there's some other people out there that are doing it, but they're not cemented. It's not like high ticket sales yet. It's not like
Yeah.
it's not like drop shipping yet. It's not like it's just not cemented yet. And so we're gonna go try go on a run and push it, the opportunity, like Brooke pushed high ticket, or like
Yeah.
the lady selling stuff. I think that at least I'm gonna try. We'll see. Maybe the market is too sophisticated for it, but we'll see.
I think that offer will perform because it's performed in a slightly different, like in an adjacent vertical, like YouTube automation, say, like the
Yeah.
faceless YouTube pages, right? That's an offer that we're crushing. Also, like Amazon automation, where it's like we'll give you like an automated done for you, like Amazon store, right? And I think like running up an IG theme page, framing it as like a faceless thing, an automated thing, maybe where if you put in the right systems, the content can get put out, without your input. That's like a really good thing. And to touch on the high ticket drop shipping thing, basically like that new angle was to add something into it that basically canceled out all of the traditional cons that people would say about drop shipping. So people would say you can't rely on your supplier because they're in China. The shipping is like 30 or whatever days plus, 60 days plus. The quality is really low and the margins are almost tiny. So then if you bring in with that new angle, basically you can say, okay, it's a higher ticket item. So, people are paying like 10K, 5K, 10K purchase, and the margins are not going to have issues with your supplier because it's an official contract with the actual company that is creating these products. Three, the warehouses that you're partnering with are in America, in Europe, in these countries that are going to ship faster. And four, obviously the product is way higher quality. So like the new angle that you bring in, you look at the old angle that everyone says is saturated, and you can literally look up on YouTube drop shipping versus X, right? Versus this other model. And whatever they say the cons are of the model that they're trying to ship on, that is what your angle should switch, should negate. And that's what Brooke has done with high ticket drop shipping, like amazingly. So whatever, like with the theme page thing, obviously I haven't looked into it. So whatever like someone says is the negative about it, just introduce a mechanism that just flips it. Like the typical, like do this without that, even if you
Well,
are.
typically the thing is like, oh, I want to make money on social media, but I don't want to show my face, and I'm not an expert yet, and yada yada. But I see social media as such a big opportunity. Faces pages, theme pages.
Yeah.
Like, why wouldn't you do that? Oh, well, that makes a lot of sense. And how can I make money with it? And well, here's the models, blah blah blah, whatever. And I look at it as like, yeah, like the pitch is like theme pages, but you end up just gathering traffic and either drop shipping or selling an info product or parlaying that into, oh, you build a bunch of fitness theme pages, go start an agency in the fitness space. You use that traffic to go and drive something. Um, that to me is how theme pages work. It's just a traffic center where you can drive it to different opportunities, different things.
Has anybody run up like a cold traffic campaign, like with the digital real estate angle for like a faceless social media thing?
I thought about doing it. I've seen some people do it. They were doing digital real estate though for like Google SEO search,
Yeah.
which I thought was interesting. Um, I thought about doing it, but I don't believe in it as digital real estate. I used to like convince myself that it was digital real estate, but like when I hear real estate, I hear tax benefits. I don't hear cash flow and like this yeah, we're people live in real estate, they work in real estate, and you get a lot of tax benefits from owning real estate, which I think is much different than pages.
Well, I mean, if you bought a page, say, for business purposes to tax write-off, that has the benefits. Two, it cash flows like buying a duplex or whatever, and it cash flows better possibly because the margins are basically 100%. It would grow in value because as you get more followers and your stats improve, then you can actually sell it. As you can use like fuck Jerry as like an example,
Yeah.
like it appreciates in value. So like the for me, if I was running that, like the digital real estate would just be like the angle to and the analogy to connect it to an existing idea that they already understand and then do the switch. There's a really great book. It's called Great Leads by Michael Masterson. And Michael Masterson is actually a fake name. The guy who wrote that, his real name is Mark Ford. And Mark Ford is the owner of Agora Publishing. And Agora is like the billion-dollar info product seller. So he had like a pseudonym called Michael Masterson, and he wrote a book called Great Leads. Everyone needs to read it. And there's a point in that where whenever you're selling to a lower awareness, so they're not a high awareness willing to buy, like on the Gene Schwartz thing, if they're like unaware, basically, you need to do this thing. I can't remember. He gives it a name. I can't remember what the name is, but you basically switch it. You start with what they know, an analogy that they know, and then you very, very slowly, at some point, you switch it into the thing that you're selling. So he was basically explaining like in the book, he says, okay, there's this royalty strategy. There's a royalty program. That's what it was, a royalty program. The guy's name was like Chaffee. The Chaffee royalty program. You can get paid like every time a Beatles song is played, Michael Jackson gets a payout. Anytime this movie is played, this famous guy gets a royalty, right? And he starts talking about royalties. And then at some point he switches it into, you can have the same thing, but by investing in dividend stocks. So you buy a stock and it pays you a royalty, like a fee, a dividend, just for owning it, right? So he took something that somebody knew existed, they can relate to it in their mind. Oh yeah, Michael Jackson does get paid whenever the Beatles play a song because he owns the rights to their music allegedly. So you could do the same thing. Like real estate is such a
Interesting.
great thing because you can tax write it off, you can cash flow from it, it grows and it appreciates in value. And then at some point you can be like, well, you can have all these benefits without all the negatives of real estate. Because if what if the roof breaks on your house 40K, minus 40K the bank to fix the roof? What if your tenant doesn't want to pay? So you can have all the benefits of real estate without any of the negatives if you just take the same, like a fraction of the money you would have spent on real estate and put it into Instagram theme pages. You can have all the benefits with none of the downsides. And then that's how you would switch it on a cold traffic.
It's something I've thought about for sure. I like the angle. I've been thinking about that angle since 2022, and I like how you explained it. That was incredible. I'm about to buy that book, by the way. But
It'll take you 2 days to read.
I personally still have reservations about calling it real estate, and maybe it's me being too sophisticated, but I'm just very careful with how I position things, especially in this space with, just like people take things the wrong way, especially when you get very big in this space. I've seen is like you're selling to people that don't know you, you're selling to cold traffic. You're selling to people that are very unaware that will charge back on you and report you to the FTC for something that wasn't actually even a scam or anything at all. And there's part of me is like, I love that angle, but also part of me is like, it has to be done in a way that doesn't mislead people because it could be misleading. I certainly wouldn't sell on tax benefits because typically the tax benefits I think of with real estate are like, write off the depreciation up front against your active income, get the real estate professional status, and also 1031 exchange when you sell it. Can't do any of that with pages. And so there's certain things in there that would have to be nuanced and not positioned incorrectly, as to not give the wrong impression. But I totally get it, and it's such a fire angle. It's such a good angle, dude. It just really is. Like it makes me want to run it. Like talking about it, but I'm always just weary.
In that book when you read it, like if you were promoting the offer to your personal brand, those are obviously very aware people. They know you, they know exactly what you do, and whenever you have an audience like that, just the direct pitch, like, hey, here's what it is. My theme page university or whatever the fuck it's called is, this is the offer. Bam, here you go, take it. That's for like the most aware. But whenever you're running to cold traffic, and you do that, they don't know who you are. They don't know what the thing is. They don't know what you sell. They don't know any backstory about it. It's like what we were talking about at the beginning where, people don't, whenever you're looking somebody up, you see all the stuff in the background. Cold traffic obviously haven't done that yet. So you need to connect your idea to an idea that already exists in their mind, like an equivalency. Like what's the most similar thing? And I don't think you should say the tax stuff because that does sound like murky waters, but the main thing I think of when I think of real estate is like, okay, I put my money in something, it grows over time and it cash flows, right? And then eventually I can sell it for more than I paid for it. That's those would be the angles that I would go through. I wouldn't bother talking about the 1031 exchange, just ignore that stuff because those people probably don't even know about it anyway.
Yeah.
So
I'm just being too sophisticated. I'm being too sophisticated.
Yeah. You got to think about the general population, man.
Do you ever find that it's tough to relate in some of your pieces of content sometimes when you make it? Because you've been in this game for a while, right? As have I, and especially in the Twitter space. It sophisticates you as a person. I feel. Do you ever find you have to force the relation sometimes in your videos?
Yeah, I think in two ways. One, I think creators or experts or whatever, they don't know what their audience would find useful because they personally think it's basic. If you were like, oh, well, obviously you would set up your opt-in page like this, obviously. But if you told that to if you had a newbie be like, yeah, make a landing page, they might just make something that's fucking, who even knows what they did, right? And then to you, it's like, oh, well, to me, it was so obvious that they should have built it in this way. Like, why didn't they do
Yeah.
that? Like, and it would never even occur to you to make content on that because it seems like it's just a given, right? So that's one thing I always think, like, okay, what, is what I'm saying actually relevant for these people? Like, is it too complicated? Because most people, like 90% of people that are watching you are not like obviously like experts. They're more in the beginning level of learning this stuff. So most of like your top of funnel content should be more beginner focused. And I also think testimonials, not even testimonials, but case studies rather, they resonate better when it's smaller numbers, like more
They do.
achievable
I've
numbers.
seen that.
So we have a client in the Amazon FBA space. He's like a regular guy. Like he's like loves going to the soccer games, drinking beers in the pub, like plays cricket or whatever. He's like just a regular like English guy, and he sells Amazon FBA coaching. And we never make promises above like making 3K a month, 4K a month, because like anything more than that to like the typical person in the UK, it's just not even feasible. It's like it's like just so out of their world. Most people just want an extra little side income, right? Like, and that's what the mass market wants. They just want to make a little bit extra on the side, and anything else is a bonus, right? But then I noticed at some point in the Twitter space, it was 10K a month, then 50K a month, then 100K a month, and now everyone's like, make 500K a month. Like the only way they ever improve their offers or their marketing is just increasing the numbers, which by the way, they don't even fucking make that money because it's all a lie and a Ponzi scheme. But in the content world, when you're pushing like a biz op to like the mass market, like the smaller claims you can make, the better. Like because otherwise, like people just can't relate to it. They can't see themselves getting that.
Yep.
Like if you're promising somebody, 1 million followers, I'll help you get 1 million. They're like, holy shit, that's so much. But if you're like, yeah, I'll help you get like 1,000 followers from zero. They're like, okay, that seems like more doable. Like, and then from there you can build your personal brand. Seems a lot more doable, to be honest.
I interviewed dozens of people in my audience, and the vast majority said, man, like if I just had an extra 3 or 5 grand a month, like that would just make it for me. And so we switched a lot of our theme page stuff was 5 to 20. Make 5 to 20. We switched it to 3 to 5. Sold better.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
And it's funny because I said the same thing to like an early coach like years ago. I paid for coaching like 6-7 years ago. I was like, man, if I can just make an extra like 5-6K a month, I'll be chilling. And I remember that conversation. And I remember actually the guy was like, you should set your sights higher. And I was like, yeah, you're probably right. I probably should. Should probably aim for more. But that's all that I was like, holy shit, I can probably have a good life on 5-6 grand. And honestly, in Europe, you can, by the way. I don't think in America it's possible, but in Europe,
Depends where you're at.
that's all you need, right? But yeah, the lower claims like work way better and help you relate to the audience a lot more. So that's what I've noticed on that side.
Totally. Cool, dude. I mean, I think we've been on a while. Question for you before we go. What's new and exciting for you? What are you guys working on?
What are we working on? I mean, we're pushing the done for you agency a lot more. I think done for you offers are getting more attractive to people. I feel like people were going through a lot, like because we're kind of, I guess, I don't know if we're in the recession still, but there was a period there, like in the last year and a half, where like money was tight for everybody. Like all the fear mongering in the news was on, like recession and inflation and all this stuff. People were holding on to their money tighter, and so I think they were more likely to buy like a course or like a done with you thing. But I feel like now we might be coming out of that, and we're noticing a lot more attraction towards like our done for you offer. So we're just like doubling down on that and really pushing that offer. And that's really just the plan, is just to keep pushing that agency bigger and bigger and scale it up and help with. And most of our clients are like people that don't have personal brands and want one, rather than like super big people that want to get bigger. So the goal is just to help as many people as possible do that, essentially.
Sick, bro. That's awesome.
Yeah, man.
You guys are crushing it.
So, yeah. So that was a good chat, man. And I think the guys will find that really valuable, and hopefully get some decent performance. Or else it's going to be one of those secret videos on the internet that has like 100 views but had a lot of value in it. I don't know.
Yeah, 100%. Dude, I appreciate you having me. It was good chatting.
Thank you, bro.
Yes, sir.